So we'll talk about the Ballarat project, and that's kind of the idea is when they approached me is that, because this is not my project, and I normally only work on most of my projects, is that this was right next to one of my projects to the Black Fox. And so I kind of knew about what was going on here. And the idea is that, and just to give you an idea of proximity, I'm standing on the coffee project right now next to this rock cairn from the turn of the century. This is the Ballarat project, right across the river from it, right in this. This is Thistle Mountain. It's one of the key things, and that's where the Black Fox. So we ended up finding, and that's part of the Kinross project, we found some quartz veins with some nice gold grades up on top. So that gives you an idea that you're like, we're in the right area. Here's another picture. This is the coffee project right here. This is the latte zone right here. That's like, that was the one soil wonder here, I call it, because there's almost 1.5 million ounces under this structure here. There's a double-double, and here's the big Supremo. That was a big blowout. And here's the Ballarat in the distance. So the previous photo I showed you from the rock cairn is down the ridge further looking across. So it gives you an idea. And then the white is just over in this part of the world here, just off the picture. And here it is here. Now you can see where the property lies. There's the Golden Saddle, 25 clicks. And this is the famous Thistle Creek, and that's Thistle Mountain right up in here. And here's the Supremo Coffee Project, and this is all the coffee claim block. And so you can see we're about 16 kilometers or 10 miles actually from the deposit. And this is where actually the coffee camp is right now. Their big camp is based right here. So it's so you're in the right neighborhood. Now when I looked at the data, I always like, it's always fun to play with the databases and see what went on, what happened, and try to debug it. So here we could see this western gold anomaly. It's a nice gold anomaly. Like it's a nice one. That's where they focus most of their exploration work. But this guy over here, this eastern anomaly, was discovered and never actually followed up on. And this is the kind of stuff that's really, that gets me excited, because these are the little flyer lines that actually produce sometimes, like, there's sometimes deposits under these things. So this becomes a high ranker here for me. We're going to debug the western anomaly. So this is this nice soil anomaly. So what I just did here is I put gold soil points on top with the actual gold contour map, colored map as a background. And then we contoured it. This is all computer generated. And so it gives you an idea. And then these are the yellow arrows, or were the drill holes where they position their drill holes. So that's part of the thing, is to try to figure out what went on from the previous guys running this program with new data added, and can we get a better idea of what's going on in there. So that's how it all started. But from the first pass, you could see that there's kind of looks like it's structurally controlled system moving through here. And then we might have another structure here. So, and to give you an idea, Ballarat Creek, they found lots of, this is where the creek where the guy was mining gold, and the actual underlying vendor of the property, the guy who staked it like almost 20 years ago, he was working on this. He was the son of a placer miner that was mining in this creek. And they found some nice big quartz veins in the creek, running up to almost an ounce per ton in the creek. So that's why the original vendor, he was very curious about what was going on here. This is the mag map. And now the mag is starting to confirm that this is a structural controlled system. And like I say, 90% of all gold systems are structurally controlled. So now we got, okay, that's good. We got more data to go with. So now we kind of have an attack plan that we know what's going this way. So these guys drilled this direction, but you'll see by the end of the talk that they pretty well probably missed it here. What I did here is I put gold soil points over moly, as I call it. And the reason why the moly is the background color, and the reason why I put that in there is because moly is the best indicator element with gold on the Golden Saddle. So I threw that up just to say, okay, yeah, there's some good, you don't need it, but it's nice when you start matching up. Now, what we do is start picking apart more or less, because geology is hard to map in here. So, because there's not a lot of outcrop, and they didn't really produce any geology maps for this property. So you start picking it apart with the geochemistry. And what I did is I put gold points in the contours over lanthanum. So lanthanum is the red in the background. And you could actually see that, you know, there's this section in here really lights up with lanthanum. And you're getting these different troughs, like the blue ones. So these are probably different rock units. And so that's what we know what's probably going on. And I'll show you down the line here more what this is fitting in. But so it's telling me that, okay, this gold anomaly is more lit up with the lanthanum, more than this guy. This guy has a little bit of lanthanum, so it might be a different rock unit. Now when we add the potassium, now we actually see, okay, the potassium is lighting up with the actual lanthanum area. So, and you can see how it's more potassium high up here than here. So this is more or less the felsic system. We call this the felsic. It'll be either a gneiss or a schist, or felsic schist. But the idea is that that's the kind of unit that the golden saddle is found in. So less probably in this zone, but you never know about these guys. So anyways, that's the trick of this business. Now what I did is I put on a couple nickel and lanthanum. So there's the lanthanum and these the reddish points, and nickel is in the green. And now you could actually see, this is probably an amphibolite or a mafic volcanic. And this is, again, following that potassium. So this is your lanthanum. So that's a felsic unit, and then you go into these. This is probably more another amphibolite or something, but it's not quite. We think this is the mafic volcanic. But that's what we're trying to pick apart now. But you can see now how we're getting ahead. And the idea now is, this is the government's GSC's very coarse-grained mapping, but you see how they have various rock units coming across at this angle. So when you actually, I put a cross-section in here, and here it is here, and all these geologies, all these rock units are actually dipping around 45 to 50 degrees to the southeast. So here's these various rock units, as you see. Now, if this is the mineralized gold systems in red, and this is their drill holes, they drilled at a 50-degree angle, they could have easily paralleled the mineralized zone. And you could be 5 meters away and still not hit the thing. This is the whole thing we learned about the coffee and the white. You could be right next to these things and not see nothing. So the idea is, so here I show, this is what the coffee, basically Supremo zone looks like. And there's your T3, T4, T5. Now, this is what I'm saying, is that if you have zones that are dipping this direction, and he's drilling in there, these are the drill holes, you could see how easily you could miss this system. So the idea is that we have to actually go back. Here's the soil anomaly. There's their drill holes. Now, these are 100-meter line spaces. Now, they actually did do 25-meter soil spacing, so they got it fairly tight. But what I'm proposing is we go in and just detail this with 50-meter, put line spaces in between, stations every 25. And we should be able to connect these dots quite a bit easier. But the other thing that we're going to do then is, then we run this high-res IP survey down. We only need like maybe 6 or 8 lines across this. And we should be able to map these structures out. Then you send in the GT probe, bang, bang, and you nail it down to the 5-meter zone. And then you bring in the RAB, and then you poke holes right underneath the GT, and they'll nail these things right down to the meter, in a sense. And bang, like now you've tested out the target to the best of your capabilities. But the idea is that we should be able to walk in there and hit that quite quickly. So this is not an Einstein program now. This is quite quick. We can move in here. So here it is here, and there's your western anomaly. And then so with the eastern anomaly, what we're going to propose is that we just start gridding this off first, because this one's more advanced. Once we grid this off, we get the results. Then we'll apply the same ideas, come in with the IP survey, the resistivity survey, DC resistivity, run it across where it lights up, and then send in the GT probe and the RAB. It's the same kind of principle. So the idea is that we have an advanced target here to work with, and then we could prep this one up depending on how much money is raised or how much they want to raise. Then we could chase this target down. So it's kind of like I say, it's not rocket science anymore. It's just science, but it's these new technology, from the drones to the DC resistivity to the GT probe that does 3 times the production to this RAB drill that's 20 to 22 cents in the dollar diamond drill. That'll actually allow us to process these targets. And the really nice part about all this is not only is it cost effective, but it's actually environmentally friendly. And the mining inspection guys are loving this. The First Nations are loving it. So that's pretty well it on the talk part. And like, you know, this guy is looking for the needle in the haystack. And that's the idea. We're going to use science and technology, and this will basically help us move ahead in this whole new, I call it the whole new era of this Dawson White Gold District. Okay, thanks.